Hey guys, what's up? Ryan521 here with another LEGO custom painted minifigure showcase, and this one we have my LEGO Breaking Bad custom painted minifigures part 2, and this video is long overdue. I believe part 1 I released in March of 2015, which is crazy, it's like 2 years ago now. And I just never really had any motivation to update my Breaking Bad figures, but then as the years, as the last couple years have gone by, I've updated a lot of my old Walking Dead figures, and the more I updated those, the more I realized, man, my figures have definitely improved since I first started, and I figured it'd be time to update pretty much all of my pre-2016 customs, and once I was done with the Walking Dead ones, the Breaking Bad figures took priority. So, and also because I've been rewatching the show, or I actually just finished it last weekend. Still great. Still my favorite TV show of all time. Can't get enough of it. Love it. Amazing acting. Incredible writing. Just love it. So I have 10 new figures for you. 10 if you count the little bear there. Or actually, wait, no, there's more than 10, aren't there? Yeah, there's 11. Sorry. But basically, there's no new figures. These are all just updates of previous figures, except Walter Jr. I took him out just because I needed spare parts. I needed the spare parts from that figure for another figure, so I don't have a figure of him in this showcase. But these are all just updates of previous figures, so I hope you guys like them. And let's get started right away with the man himself, Walter White. So starting off here, of course, we have Walter White, otherwise known as Heisenberg. And this is, of course, based off of the outfit he wears in Ozymandias, my favorite episode of any TV show I've ever seen. It's self-explanatory, really. I don't even have to go into detail. I mean, you got, spoiler alert, Hank's death, pretty much the destruction of Walter White, and him, officially becoming 100% Heisenberg. The knife fight between him and Skyler, the drama is just, in the phone call, the drama is just off the chain in that episode. I absolutely love it. But of course, starting off with Walter White here, he's got, actually, it's kind of interesting about this figure. This is one of the more complex figures I've done. See, he had a red torso originally, so it actually kind of looks like when you pull his head off, that's like blood or whatever. But this is a red torso originally. I painted the entire thing tan. I went over it like 2 or 3 times. You can see there's a few clumps in it. I tried to kind of reduce that as much as possible. And then he has a couple pockets painted on, and then the lapels right here of the little jacket he's wearing. And then his blue button-up shirt underneath with the white buttons, and you can see the creases and everything, kind of where it's tucked into his belt. You see the continuation of the jacket onto the belt area, the belt buckle, some black shoes painted on to the gray pants. His head is the same head from before, but it is greatly improved with the paint. As you can see, the goatee looks much better. I'll kind of do this, the lighting's a little bit better. Yes, the goatee looks much better, as do the glasses and the eyebrows. I think the glasses are in definite improvement from the last ones, because the last ones looked terrible. And the goatee looks pretty good as well. I think this definitely looks more professional than my last one. And then actually just a fun mini detail I put in the very, towards the end of when I was finishing up these figures. I saw, what's his name, Legomatic 9, he gave him his famous snub nose gun that he uses, when he buys it in Season 4 to protect himself from Gus. He uses it in various times from that point on. He used, like a revolver, like a Rick Grimes type of a revolver piece for it, and he kind of cut down the barrel. So I decided to do a different approach and kind of try my own way. I, heavily cut down a German Luger piece to make that, so I think that looks really cool. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think the size, even though the barrel, I think there's not really much of a barrel to it, I think it's still a really good size. I can maybe even show you guys a little bit more of a close-up of it. So I really like how that turned out. And then I just painted everything but the handle that he grips black. So I just kind of cut down the barrel, sanded the back down, and then cut down this little piece at the very bottom right here. And I think it might not be the most accurate looking, but size-wise, I think that works really well for Walter White's snub nose, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. Especially from a side view like that, I think it looks really good. So, there you go. There is Walter White. Next up, we have Jesse Pinkman. Of course, this is based off of kind of his Season 4 attire. This is when he wears, of course, the shirt that he wears many times throughout the series, which is it has a design it's a grenade made out of a skeleton hand, kind of. It's really kind of cool looking. So I thought that was neat, and so he's kind of wearing a black t-shirt with that design on it. And then he has the buzz cut, so it's very similar to his look in Season 4, and kind of the first half of Season 5 as well. This is just kind of my favorite Jesse story arc or whatever, is the one where he's with, he's riding around with Mike, and he's deciding where his loyalties lie, whether or not it's with Gus and Mike, or if it's with Walter, and for that reason alone, I decided to paint him in this version, considering this is what he looks like in one of my favorite story arcs of his in the show. So of course he's got, like I said earlier, he's got the grenade skeleton hand design painted on the shirt. You might think that would be really complicated and hard to paint, but it actually, that was only version 2 of it. I only had to redo it once, because the first version there was too much spacing in between the fingers, and it just looked it didn't look very accurate. You can see this one's a little lopsided, it's not really painted on very straight, but I can deal with that. I still think it looks pretty good. You can see the continuation of the shirt onto his belt. He's got some gray shoes on, some sneakers on. You can see the skin showing on his arms with his the gray outline of his sleeves. Just some creases on his shirt. The buzz cut painted on his head, which I think looks pretty good. You guys can see that, kind of similar to what I did with my Shane figure from Walking Dead. Just some creases on the back of his shirt. That line right there, that's just kind of... yeah, sorry. I think that's like from the nail polish remover that's left over from. You see like a little line right towards the bottom there. So you can just see the back of his hairline. You see it's a little clumpy towards the top right there, but no big deal. And then, of course, his face. I don't really like that. It's the Indiana Jones face is smiling, but I didn't really know how to erase just the mouth without erasing the whiskers as well, so I just left it as smiling. I've seen some people use a Frodo face for him, which I think actually would look really, really good with this particular figure, but I wanted to kind of be original and do my own thing, so maybe someday I'll go back and switch it, but for now I'm going to keep it with this face. And, of course, he does have a handgun as well. And I didn't do the tattoo, the black tattoo on his arm, just because, I don't know, Legomatic 9 did it, and I figured I didn't want to copy him. So I figured I'd just kind of leave it off, just for now. Even though it would have been accurate, it wouldn't really have been copying him, I figured I'd just leave it off. It would have been too intricate to paint on anyway, so, yeah, there is Jesse Pinkman. Next up, we have Hank Schrader, or ASAC Schrader, and you can go F yourself. Famous last words. Well, not quite last words, but you know what I mean. So yeah, this is Hank Schrader. God, I love this character. It's just he's so awkwardly funny at moments where it's, like, uncomfortable, just something about him. And the actor, Dean Norris, does such a great job. But anyway, onto the figure. This is greatly improved from my first version of him. As you can see, rather than using a red torso and then painting on the black jacket, I used a black torso and painted on, like, the red shirt. So as you can see, it's mostly black. You can see the zipper, the gold zipper on it. You can see he has the red shirt painted underneath with the skin line showing. You can see his belt down there. It's kind of lopsided belt with the buckle that probably could look a little better, but looks fine for now. Brown shoes, of course. He's got his handgun. I think the wrinkles on his face came out really well. I painted those on. So I think those look pretty good, especially the ones around the mouth. You see the zipper on the side of his arm. And then just some more creases in the back of his jacket. Not too much. I don't really know what to do with the back of my figure, so I usually just paint creases on in hopes that that will look good. And you see the continuation of the black jacket on the back of his belt. And, yeah, not a very complicated figure with Hank, but I really like how this one turned out. So, yeah, there is Hank Schrader. Next up, we have Saul Goodman, or Jimmy McGill, depending on if you're basing this figure on Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is where it's at right now, man. For those of you that don't watch, I seriously suggest you check it out, considering they're going to bring Gus in Season 3. But back to Saul, this is a classic case of one of those figures where where I hated my first version of him, but I gotta say my newer version is one of my favorite figures in the showcase. I just think the torso and everything, and especially I love the hair for this guy. I think turned out really well. So for starting on the torso, of course, he's got his a black jacket painted on with, you can see the little blue ribbon kind of painted on the side there. He's got a blue tie and a pink shirt, like a salmon pink shirt, painted underneath with that kind of continuing under his sleeves, as you can see. It's on this sleeve as well. He's got a briefcase. You can see his belt painted on. And back of him just has the back detail of his suit jacket. The little what do you call it? Bluetooth on the side of his kind of by his ear. And then his hair is actually, you can see just a generic, like a brown Lego hairpiece that you see in a lot of, just like I said, very generic piece that I sanded to make look like Saul's hair, and I think it actually turned out looking really, really good. I think it looks a lot like the hair that Bob Odenkirk sports in Breaking Bad. I don't really like that I accidentally sanded down the sideburns that much. That kind of sucks. It doesn't look as bad on this side, but on this side I definitely sanded it too much. But it's not that big a deal. And then of course I painted some creases, or some lines on his face to show age. Lines I think really help make this look like Bob Odenkirk in real life. So yeah, there's Saul. Like I said, one of my favorite figures in the showcase, and you know, Better Call Saul. Definitely, like I said, definitely recommend you check out Better Call Saul as well. It's easily probably my second favorite show on TV right now, or second or third. You know, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul are like the three that I look out for. So definitely recommend you check it out. Once again, another figure that I think is definitely improved from his last version. Next up we have Mike Ehrmantraut. Yeah, definitely love this character, even more so watching the show the third time around. I just forget some of, like, just as he takes no BS from anybody, especially if I was being interviewed by Hank in season 5. I just love the character of Mike. He's so cool, and I love him in Better Call Saul as well. His story arc is probably just as entertaining, if not more entertaining actually, than Jimmy's or Saul's. But onto the figure, he's painted in, a lot of people seem to paint him in this, is like kind of like a black zip-up jacket. But I changed it up a little bit. Instead of painting a blue shirt underneath, I decided to paint like a gray, just like a gray button-up shirt underneath, so you can see that. You just see, like I said, some pockets and the lapels and whatnot on his jacket, the zipper. You can see his belt painted on there, some shoes. You can see that the shoes are actually shoes from my last Mike figure that I decided not to repaint and just leave the old ones on. So that's why it's my old style of painting shoes, where it doesn't have the curve on the side. See, the silencer on his gun is painted silver, so I like that. Just some back creases on him, nothing too fancy. The back of his belt. See, he's got a pair of binoculars, a gun with a silencer. And then his face, I think, looks definitely much better than my last one. The face on my last Mike figure is horrid. I have no idea what I was thinking with that one. But as you can see, you just got a goatee paint on, some creases on his face, some lines like bags under his eyes, and then some gray eyebrows. And then, of course, the bandage for when he got shot in the earlobe kind of like area. So that's why he's got the bandage on the side of his head. So, yeah. Definitely love Mike, one of the coolest characters in the entire show. So, yeah, awesome character, pretty good figure. Next up, we have the infamous pink teddy bear from Season 2. Of course, the episodes 737 down over ABQ. God, that plane crash storyline was such a cool way to do Season 2. I love it. I love the way that all comes together at the end. But I saw this Lego teddy bear piece, and I just got an idea. I saw it, and it just clicked with me. I'm like, yes, I have to do that. So it took me roughly a half hour to paint, but I turned the regular Lego teddy bear into the infamous pink teddy bear from Breaking Bad. So, as you can see, starting off, the entire thing is painted white. I'm sorry if there's a few, like, if you can kind of see a little bit of brown through it. I only put 2 layers on it, roughly. You can see the padding on the paws is painted in a white. I thought about painting the feet white, but I decided against it. And then you can see the white kind of painted on the stomach. I kind of painted around the eye, painted the ear white too, of course. I say ear singular because the other is gone. And you see the tongue and the nose, and the white beak, or not beak, snout, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. Whatever you call that part on a bear. And you can see, of course, the side, I sanded down the ear, and where the eye would be, and I just painted black, the burn mark, of course, from the plane crash when it hits Walter's pool with a splash. Such a creepy scene there, but I just love the way that this bear symbolizes Walter's descent into, just being into turning evil, as well as how it kind of foreshadows Gus's death as well. So, another figure which I have coming up later in the showcase. So, yeah, there is the pink teddy bear. Love it. Next up, we have Gus Fring. I was going to say Gustavo Fring, but I guess Gus is probably, that's the name he goes by usually in the show, so I'll just say that. But yeah, so we've got Gus Fring, and of course, this is painted in his usual outfit that he wears with the yellow button-up shirt, his Los Pollos Hermanos crew member kind of shirt. So of course he's got a blue tie painted on, and you see a pocket and some creases on the shirt. Actually, I'm surprised I got these lines so thin for my Part 1 figure. So I actually left those on there from my last Gus figure, the little creases where it goes into the belt. I thought those were so thin. I was surprised I was able to get those so straight. So I just kept those on there from the last Gus figure. Then of course you see the lapels of his shirt and the skin showing through the top there. His belt painted on with some brown shoes. You see his hands are kind of painted to look darker. It doesn't look great, but I didn't really have hands that match the exact skin tone of the face, so I just painted the hands there. You can see the back of his shirt with some creases and whatnot. Just back details. The back of his belt, the back of his shoes. His hairline painted on all the way around. The gold glasses don't look great. They kind of smudge a little bit. That's probably one of the sloppier things that I painted on this figure. So they don't look great, especially his left lens, or I guess it's alright, but his left. That one doesn't look very good, so maybe I'll go back and redo that, but for now I think it works. And then of course his head is from the ACU Trooper from the Dilophosaurus Ambush, the Jurassic World set, which may or may not even be in stores anymore. I don't think it is, considering that movie came out almost 2 years ago. But yeah, so there is Gustavo Gus Fring. Awesome villain, one of the best villains in TV history, if not the best. Next up we have Hector Salamanca. Of course, this is big villain. Well, actually, not even really that big of a villain. I mean, he was dead in 4 episodes, really. But such a great character. He's even better, probably, in Better Call Saul, I would say. His character is even funnier in that show. So I love him. You know, the actor Raymond Cruz does a terrific job bringing this hilariously over-the-top character to life. But yeah, so I just had to make a figure of him. So as you can see, he's painted in the outfit that he wore in the Junkyard in the Season 2 premiere. What's that one called? I think 737 is the name of that episode. Yeah, because that's the first of the anagram or whatever that spells 737 down over ABQ. So yeah, it has to be. So yeah, it's kind of painted in this outfit. So you can see he's got the white kind of striped shirt that he was wearing in that scene. You can see the buttons on the shirt, and then like the lapel of his the lapel right there. And then you can see his skin showing through. A big thing that I struggled with, like, internally was, should I continue the pattern onto his sleeves? And I started doing it, and then I just realized, nope, this is going to look terrible. It's going to take a ton of time to do. So I figured just to leave it off the sleeves, something I kind of regret doing, but at the same time, it's like, it would have just looked terrible either way. So I figured I'd just leave the sleeves blank for now. Maybe someday I'll go back and do those. Similar to Mike, I decided just to leave the old shoes painted on this figure, so they're my old style of shoes that I did. I think his face matches Tuco pretty well, matches Raymond Cruz pretty well, and you can see he's got the short. I opted to paint on the hair rather than give him a hairpiece like I did last time, because I think that looks more like Tuco with it painted on. And then of course you can see there's a little smudge on the arm right there that shouldn't be there. A little black smudge. I think that was from when I attempted to paint the arms and it just looked terrible. You can see the stripe pattern kind of continued onto the back. Doesn't look as good as on the front, but it looks alright. He's got his hunting knife with, of course, Walter White's blue meth on it. And then my favorite detail on him, the blood painted on from when he beat, I believe Nodos was the name of the guy. The guy that was beat up, it was Nodos, and that was the name of one of his henchmen, and then the other one had a name too. I can't remember which is which. But when he beat up his henchman in the junkyard, remember? So of course he's got the blood stain on his hand from that scene right there. So yeah, not really much else to say about this one. Pretty simple figure, and yeah, there's Tuco. Tight. Next up we have Skyler White, who was painted in the outfit she wears in Ozymandias, as well as Tohaj Ali, considering those episodes take place both on the same day. But yeah, so you can see she's wearing a lot of white. So she's wearing kind of like some, white pants with some blood stains all around her, on her sleeves, on her arms, on her torso a little bit, even on the kitchen knife, because of course this is after the knife fight with Walt. She's wearing like this white blouse thing that kind of goes over her white shirt. You can just see some creases painted in it. You can see the blue outline of the blouse right there, and then the skin showing underneath. You can see, like I said, she's got like blue, kind of like a blue, border kind of on her arms, the kind of dividing line between the shirt and the arm and the skin. So there's that. The back of her torso, you can just see some more details, some more blue for the back of the collar, and then just some more creases. And then tan shoes painted on. I think that face matches her look in the scene really well, where she's angry at Walt. And then, of course, like I said, bloodstains on the kitchen knife. I love this piece. I didn't even know this that Brickforge made this piece until just recently. So I think that looks really cool. I think that looks really neat. It works really well with this figure. And yeah, I changed her hair too, because I think that matches more the look kind of the hairstyle she had in the scene, better than the previous hair that I had on her. So yeah, there's Skyler White. I never got all the hate with Skyler. Like, I understand she's annoying, especially towards the back half of season 5, but she's very, she's not nearly as bad as Marie, I thought. Marie's storylines, like, all those were just, like, could have been cut out of the show for me, in my opinion. I didn't think Skyler was that bad, but I definitely understand some of the hate behind her. The actress did a phenomenal job, though. Anna Gunn, is it? So, yeah, great acting by her. She did a really good job with the character, and yeah, there is Skyler White. Next up, we have Hector Salamanca. I really like how this figure turned out. Looks much better than my previous version, I'll say that much. So as you can see, he's kind of wearing like a bowling shirt, is what I like to refer to those as. Where it's got like the stripes on him, like Charlie Sheen wears them a lot in that 2 and a Half Men show. It just looks very similar to like the outfits that people wear when they bowl, you know, so there's that. You can see he's got just some, you can see the buttons kind of undone at the bottom there. You can see his skin showing through. You can see kind of the line for the oxygen tank. His head was a yellow head that I painted completely this brownish color, and I painted on the details of the face. You can see the eyebrows and the hairline completely all around, as well as the wrinkles in his mouth and everything. So I think all that looks pretty good. I painted that same skin pattern onto his arms and hands. You see the brown kind of the brown sleeve, or the brown kind of a divider of his arm and his sleeve there. And then of course he's got the belt in this hand, so I love that. So he's kind of hard to see, but he's got a belt and a belt buckle painted on to his, this area right here, the belt area. I didn't paint shoes on him, considering he's sitting in a wheelchair, and it wouldn't have looked very good anyway, so, like I said, just the back of the hairline. And then the wheelchair is custom built. I think it's the same design as the last time, just with a few modifications. But I did paint on the spokes, kind of, I guess you could call them, on the, the wheels. So I just kind of painted black on that. It looks pretty good. And of course I painted Walt's little homemade bomb at the bottom there, so you can see that. So I think that looks pretty cool. And then, yeah, that's really all I have to say for Hector. And then, of course, you can see on the back of his shirt, just the back of his collar. So, yeah, I love this character. I think he's the right mixture of, like, funny, but also really dark, especially in the flashback scenes with Don Eladio, where he kills, Gus's partner, Max. So, a very cool, intricate character that I thought they handled really well in the show, and I love the way they killed him off. So, speaking of this character's death, we've got another character's death coming up right now. Next up, we have Off Gus. I should say finally, actually, this is the last figure. But yeah, this is Off Gus. Kind of funny. He died with Hector, so it's kind of fitting to put them in the same kind of back to back. But yeah, I think this figure, even though I loved my last one, and the complicatedness of the face was what made it my all-time favorite figure I've ever done, I think I just stepped it up with this guy, made him look even more accurate, even better. So, as you can see, he's got, starting from the bottom, he's got a speck right there. He's got some black shoes painted on the bottom that go all the way around. It's kind of hard to see because it's light blue or a dark blue torso. He's got his black striped vest painted on, with you can see kind of the lapels right here. And then, as you can see, a black shirt underneath with a blue tie. You can see some painting on his hands to match his skin on the face. You can see the blood stain from the explosion all on the side. You can see some cuts in his torso, some blood on his hand. There's the back of his torso, just more of the black striping. Whoops. And then, of course, the collar of the back of his shirt, or the collar of his vest. And then, of course, the face. This face looks, I love the way this thing turned out. I think it looks really cool. So you can see he's got the hairline painted on with another little speck there. I'm sorry about all these little specks getting stuck on these figures. But yes, there's his hair. He's got the skin tone, which I tried really hard to find the one I could that would match closest to this skin tone. So I think I did a pretty decent job on matching the two. As you can see, he's got some kind of worried expression on his face with like the cheekbone and the eyebrow raised and everything, and the sad face. So I think that looks pretty cool. See the hair painted on. And then you've got the big explosion side right here. I think this looks so much better than the last time. I used a darker shade of black. A darker shade of red, excuse me. And then I painted black down here to represent the gaping hole that was there in the show, kind of by his cheek area. And then just, yeah, I think the the way that the red is shining even kind of makes it look like wet blood, so I think it looks even cooler. But yeah, I really like how the explosion, half of his face turned out. And then rather than my last one, it was just kind of a straight line that divided the hairline in this, and I kind of made it more jagged, like you could see, like, you know, some of the hair was kind of still, to kind of make it look more like it was, you know, it wasn't such a clean cut explosion. It kind of like, you know, blue, you know, like, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It wasn't like just a straight divider line between the hair and the explosion area. But yeah, I love the way this figure turned out, guys. One of my new favorite, if not my new all-time favorite figure I've ever done, just because of, like I said, the intricateness of it. But yeah, just really cool, awesome death scene, one of the coolest scenes in the entire show by far. Face-Off is easily one of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, for sure, and this scene is one of the main reasons why. So yeah, there is Face-Off Gus. Let's close out this video. So there you guys go, there they are. Hope you guys liked them. Let me know what your favorite one is down in the comments. Personally, you know, Face-Off Gus has always been my favorite figure I've ever made, like even my previous version of him, just because of the complexity and how intricate doing his face was and how annoying it was to make. So I really like that one. Of course, Jesse and Walt turned out pretty good as well, but yeah, I'd say we're all probably Walt and Face-Off Gus, probably my two favorites. If I ever order more figures or more figure parts in the future, I'd love to maybe get around to doing, I've always kind of wanted to do, like, you know, Jesse's cronies, you know, Badger, Skinny Pete, and Combo. Maybe Todd and Uncle Jack would be fun to do. So maybe just some more villain characters, like, oh, I suppose, you know, Jesse's friends aren't villains, but you know what I mean. Some more of, like, the supporting characters or more villain characters would be fun to do in the future. But anyway, let me know what you guys, like I said, let me know your favorite one down in the comments. In terms of paint-to-figure showcases, I should have a new Walking Dead one out by the Season 8 premiere, because I don't think I'll be able to have I don't think I'll have enough figures done by the time Season 7 ends, so maybe give me some time over the summer to get maybe 5 new figures done, and then I'll have a new showcase out for you guys for that. And then hopefully I'll have a new, maybe Sons of Anarchy showcase out soon, considering I haven't updated a lot of those guys in like 2 years, so... yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.